This is the main event.
GoPro highlight.
I hit the main event. You know, Drew,
right.
I took a week
No
or
one's
so
on.
away,
No one's
and
on.
then it's a mess.
No one's on yet. Do it again. Start it
Here
up.
we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary?
You are listening to
Kayak Adventure Series.
Kayak Adventure Series. This is where you choose your own adventure. You want to be offshore, you want to be shallow, you want to go up the
You
creek,
want to have a kayak that is sophisticated.
or a kayak that is simple.
You get to choose your own adventure.
Oh, looky there. That's a micro bag. I hope you brought the family. This is going to be wild. Hey, this adventure is going to be amazing.
What is going on? All right, we're officially live this time. It is already April 10th. This is crazy.
Yeah, dude, we're getting close to
We're getting so
this whole
close.
thing. I actually it's starting to hit me like, oh God, we did something here, and now we have to show up and do some more. We got a lot of people signed up already for Palooza. It's probably close to 40 unique individuals, because you got to think there's the individual division and there's also the team division, right? So we got close to 40 actual unique individuals. So yeah, this is gonna be fun, guys. Gonna be fun. It's only we're less than a month away, right? And the momentum is building, because hey, kayak anglers, if you have 1 or 2 or 3, 4 or 5 people a month out, that's pretty darn good. So we got 32, and those 32 are getting their free $100 gift bag from the sponsors. So congrats to all you guys who are already signed up. And hey, it's crazy. Why would you not sign up early? $100 gift bag, right? Plus, you can move that entry to another event if for some crazy reason you forgot about your sister's wedding or whatever. Move it to the next event, or get a full refund up to 2 days, before the event. So there's no reason not to just go ahead and get signed up. So, let's see. So Lions In, what else? How's you took a week off, like you said. We had a little bit of a cluster when you were gone. I think Jake did okay, but we learned a couple little things on the controls here. But I mean, how was your time off? You do any fishing?
No. Yes. Well, I keep hitting the pond. So it's that thing where but as far as getting the kayak out, I've been going to the pond just to make sure that I still know how to cast, I guess.
You got to keep it fresh,
I'm
sharp.
Back now.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to this Palooza.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild, man. I'm excited. I've been pretty much just still riding the high from the Bassmaster Kayak Series Championship, and still doing some interviews and podcasts about it and some stuff with it. So, I still don't even know how to feel. I feel numb. I seriously feel like I've been chasing something for so long. You know what I mean? That was the last thing I felt like it was be cool to have on a tournament resume. Angler of the Years is great. We all want those. I got a couple of those. And then a championship was the last thing. Got some national wins, of course, had plenty of those. But dude, I don't even know how to feel. I feel like this weight's been lifted. I'm still ambitious and ready to go out there and hit the next event I'll be at, which will be Gunnersville for Bassmaster. But man, it just still feels weird, this whole thing. But I'm excited about today's show because we're going to have a couple great guests on. Ryan Rice, RJM Fishtails, he was just at the KBFNC, so he can kind of give us an update on how that national championship went. I was following along. I don't know if you followed along much or whatever, but I followed along with it, and it was excited to see the action. That was a grueling event. We'll talk to him about it a little bit. And then we'll also have a sponsor spotlight. I think he'll probably join us for the whole show, but Mr. John Thomas from Yak Gadget will be on, and they make a lot of cool stuff for the anglers. As many of you guys out there know, he's everywhere. He's at shows. He's nonstop in the industry. So really cool to see, to have him on. So, and have him as a sponsor of the KAS. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, let's get into, I got some news and notes before we bring those guys on. Little housekeeping, little news and notes. You guys, if you're on Instagram, we probably won't see your comments. If you're on the Facebook or YouTube, that's better. Feel free to add comments, and also feel free to isn't there there's a phone number you could call if you guys want to call in and talk about something. We have a phone number you can call, I believe, right, Billy?
We do.
All right, so you guys, I'll get the news and notes up, and you get that number up. Get ready. So, all right, news and notes.
All right, news and notes.
We'll do that first. Oh, the last thing I didn't mention about Palooza, guys, kids will win the kids division. So we're talking 16 and under, get a free, hang on, actually, I forgot to go live on Instagram. Now I'm live. But kids 16 and under in that kids division, they have a lower entry fee. Now they're still are entered into the whole Palooza. They're still in the individual division. That's just a lower entry fee. And then we recognize the top youth on stage. Don't forget, the winner of that youth division will get a brand new Primo kayak from Crescent. So that's pretty awesome that even if we have, whatever, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids, some youth is going to walk away with a free kayak. So get your youth involved. That's why you might say, well, that's a big prize for who knows how many 4, 5, 6 kids, right? Well, the youth is the future, right, of our sport. So we're trying to make sure we get them out there, and you dads get your, sons and daughters out there. Moms too, of course, can't leave them out. They love to fish too, like mine did and does. But so anyway, we will
exactly. Yeah. And you know what? The other thing I'll just add, Drew, is that like the Kayak Adventure Series, one of the biggest things that kind of differentiates it from some of these bigger trails, even some of the local trails, is like this family atmosphere, getting people together. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do, sign up for. There's going to be the the thing like Dustin Hoy and those guys are doing with the ACA and all that. But
yeah,
the family part of it is, you're not even kidding when you say, the kids, the youth is the future. So that's amazing. Bring your kids.
Yeah, for sure. You might win a kayak. You might actually also just make some friendships and memories that last a lifetime. That at the festival, we got the kids zone, bouncy houses, games like that for kids at the whole kids zones. And then we also have an activity like at Palooza on Saturday. We're going to have a hike. So I know a lot of my family's going to be on that hike, and I know some others. So bring the kids to the hike. It's not a hard hike. It's a fun hike right along the river. It's beautiful and scenic. So it's a lot of things to do for the kids and the family while the anglers are out there fishing. And then the rest of my news and notes is going to be, so guys, I got some big announcements soon. So I'm not going to, obviously it's kind of like lame that I'm saying some big announcements will come soon. I can't say them now. So what's the point of me even like bringing it up, but I'm just excited about it. That's why there's some big announcements coming soon. We're working really hard on the AOY package. So we're going to announce that. Our trophies are being made. So we're going to show you guys those trophies as soon as they're made, so you can get excited about that. And 2025 schedule. I know this is crazy, guys, but 2025 schedule, like tours and apartments, signed contracts, is done, except for one stop that's still TBD, but we kind of have an idea, a couple locations we're working with. So 2025 is done. We're already working on 2026. We got one meeting already we've had for 2026, and it's looking like a cool spot as well. Maybe familiar to some folks, but it's a cool, unique spot, especially given our different format and rules. So it'll make it be a little different. So that's exciting. And then you guys will get to learn that schedule very soon, like sooner than you probably realize. So that's exciting. And then I think we maybe have mentioned some of these sponsors, but I do want to mention them again. They're kind of new sponsors that came on board. We're about done wrapping up any new sponsors, but go check out Kayak Loading Solutions. They're really cool new product. Kayak Loading Solutions. Actually, Ryan did a video on them. We'll have them in here in a minute. They're going to be at the events showing off their kayak loader. That's pretty cool how you can just touch with a button, right? And your kayak goes from the ground basically all the way up onto your truck, onto the top, and it just gets locked in there. So it's pretty cool. As you get older, especially, it's kind of nice to have something like that. But they'll be able to show it off at the event. So go check them out. Big Drip Outdoors, you guys. That's a new product. They have something called the Lodestone. It's a magnetic stone. And if you want to see it, I'll bring up a video here in a minute, but I did post a walkthrough video. Did you see it, Billy? I've posted a walkthrough of my Crescent Kayak Shoalie and Torpedo setup with the Innovative Sportsman Rock Guard and all the accessories that I used for Bassmaster Championship. I had a whole 7-8 minute video just walking through exactly how it's set up. And anyway, I had that Big Drip Outdoors Lodestone on there, and a lot of people were like, man, where do you get that? So go to BigDripOutdoors.com. You can go check it out. Farwide is the Angler of the Year. I think we did talk about that, but Farwide, that app is pretty cool. And maybe during the show today, I'll even share a screen and get into why I use the Far Wide app, and also Omnia. They have an app both those apps work really well. There's a couple overlapping things, but they're very different in a lot of ways and why I use them. But I think on the show today, we might be able to pull a screen and share how I use those apps a little bit. Yak Rods, I want to thank Yak Rods, guys. I mean, these guys, they're going to give you a nice $50 off coupon just for registering. You'll get that at the event. And also, there's so many packages coming in for the series, guys. Z-Man sent loads of I got a huge box of this stuff. This is the micro goats. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but the micro goats here. And that's going to be in their prize bag. That's going to really catch some of those micro bag fish for sure. And then the last thing here, I think on my note, is Torpedo is officially now our individual angler sponsorship. So they've always were kind of penciled in as that, but with that Yamaha transition, Yamaha bought Torpedo, and it kind of like caused a lot of delays in their whole process. But Torpedo is the official sponsor of the individual angler division. So I don't know if we should call that solo angler or individual. Individual is just hard to say, but I don't know. We'll keep it individual for now. I don't know. But hey, last two things. Discord. Sign up for the Discord, guys. Maybe we'll post that. We can grab that Discord link and post it here in the comments again. But our Discord channel is a great place to meet people, talk about the KAS, and find lodging and shuttle partners, and even teammate. If you want to enter the 2-man team division presented by X2 Power, then that's a great place. So, and then the last thing, you already touched on it, was the ACA classes, the American Canoe Association classes that is happening. I want to say I might have pulled up a graphic from the last show down here at the bottom, but it's the ACA class. Yeah, here it is. We already have some people signed up. It maxes at 15. We really need to have this final number and who you are 2 weeks prior, just so we can put you down on the insurance. You know what I mean? So Jeff may end up getting insurance for 15, and then which will allow you guys to probably sign up a little bit later, but we want you guys to sign up for this ASAP. It will change your life. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. It'll save your life. You'll catch more fish. This is the most no-brainer thing. If I had to spend money on one thing, if I could tell anyone, it wouldn't be buy some fancy new bait, spend $50 or $100 on some fancy new swim bait or glide bait or rod and reel. It would be take this class. Take this class. It'll impact your fishing for your entire life, like you won't even believe. So take this class. And it's easy. Just PayPal the money to Jeff Little and you're in. That's it can't be simpler. So, easy. And we have a private lake, dude. You see that private stock lake that used to be a golf course? I mean, it's got giants in it, and it's going to be really, really, really nice. So, and like I said, huge fish. So go sign up, guys. Email Jeff Little, PayPal Jeff Little there. And yeah, I think that's it. So we can bring in our guests, unless you got anything else that you.
Well, I think the only other thing I wanted to add about, because when we do the news and notes, obviously sponsored by Omnia, if you download the Omnia app, and I think we mentioned it earlier, because I did this. I downloaded the app. I paid for the app. I think it's like $49.99 or something like that a year. Mm-hmm. They give you a $49.99 credit to Omnia, and it actually works. So, and I don't mean that's no slight at Omnia. I'm saying sometimes promotions don't always work the way you want them to. I downloaded the app, and then I went into the store and I shopped, and it was free. Yeah. So I got some more micro baits, because that's what I've been spending my money on. So that's cool. Shout out to Omnia. Great app. And it's basically free because we're going to buy baits anyway.
Exactly. Let me actually put our code up there. We have a KAS 15, or you can throw it up and I'll put if you want to get the app, all you got to do, I'll put it in the comments right here, right now. I will throw it in there. Just go to that app right there. Or that link right there, sorry. But the app it's cool. If you're a lake angler, especially, which a lot of folks in the KS are going to be fishing the lakes, because we allow lakes, rivers, and creeks. Man, to have the wind direction, the approximate water clarity, the approximate water temperature, stuff like that is like, and Navionics on top of which Navionics is probably $50 or more just to buy that alone. So you get that plus all the other stuff, plus you get $50 in Omnia, like, credit, right? I mean, like you're saying, if that's still going on, I don't know if it's a forever thing or not, but that's pretty much a good deal right there. So go check it out.
Well, mine was last week, so I don't know if it's a forever thing, but it's pretty recent in my experience.
Pretty recent. Yep. Well, let's bring these guys in. Well, let's bring them both in real quick. I guess I'll add them here, and this is, I guess, and then the main event, and then also sponsor spotlight when we bring John.
That's right.
The main event.
GoPro highlight.
All right.
Ryan, we will introduce you and then bring John in so we can hit the sponsor spotlight. But hey, RJM Fishtails, Ryan Rice, you're seem to be everywhere. You're really hustling, man, and I appreciate it. You're kind of making a name for yourself in the industry, and everyone has to start somewhere. You know, I had to start somewhere, Billy. We all did, and I see the passion that you have for the sport, and it's just why I wanted to bring you on. You know, because you're just always willing to help, nonstop, and those are the kind of people that, quite frankly, we want to attract at the Kayak Adventure Series. So. And you've been on the show briefly before, I think maybe when we talked about the Tawanda event, but how you doing, man? You came off a big long trip out there to the KBF National Championship, and how you feeling?
I'll never do that again. It was definitely too many days in a row doing the 5 days.
Right.
Real quick, am I too echoey? Too much echo in this room?
There's a little bit of echo, but it's not like horrible. But
you know what? I could probably move around so it's not so bad.
Yeah,
just hang in there.
Yeah, you're good. We can bring in John if you want to and introduce him because he's going to hang out with us all show. So let's do that. Bring in John. This is a sponsor spotlight. Mr. John Thomas from Yak Gadget.
Hello, John.
Yeah, man. We got it somewhere. We have the sponsor spotlight thing. I don't know where. Here we go. Here it is. We just got to bring that up. Presented by TourneyX. Sponsor spotlight presented by TourneyX, the best scoring app. I love how simple it is. Thank you, TourneyX. But yes, John, what's going on? Yak Gadget is doing some great things in the industry. Kind of honestly what I just said about Ryan, right? I mean, you were kind of the little guy, and you're not, like giant or anything. You're still just basically it's yourself and a few people. So, but you've just been passionate about this for so long, and you're like, I'm going to eventually, win everyone over and show them how much I care about the sport and the anglers and the products that you need. I feel like you feel a really cool little niche, you know what I mean? And build all these niche products that a lot of us, need solutions for. So what do you think, man? Tell us about what you got going on with Yak Gadget.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm almost 6 years ago, we started this company, and it's just been quite a ride, in the last 6 years. We went from having one product to now having over 135 products that we sell. I've developed them all. I've had to, just spend all that time and all that money, developing it and getting it to the place where it's at now. It's a lot of equity that you put in. I think what you mentioned too about Ryan, there's a lot of sweat equity that comes into this. And if you love this, if you're still here 6 years later, you really love this because you put your heart and your soul into it. And this is 24/7 for me. I wake up and I go to bed thinking about this thing and thinking about how we can continue to make better products and have better experiences on the water. So it's something that I've been really proud to be not only a part of it as far as the industry, but also just proud to, build a company from scratch and grow it to this point now where we're starting to add even more capabilities now. We're now getting to that point now where we're expanding past some of the things that we've done in the past. So it's really cool just to keep it going. And we do have a lot of stuff for 24 that we've already introduced and we've got some new stuff before the end of the year that we'll introduce as well.
That's exciting, man. Some new manufacturing capabilities. That's the next step to growth. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so Ryan, you and John will both be at Shoalipalooza, correct? I think you guys are both going to be at that one.
Yes, sir.
Yep, absolutely.
So John, you'll have a booth there and you'll be able to hang out with the anglers, talk to them.
Yep.
There's our good buddy, James Fott from Midwest Kayak Company. He can bring some Yak Gadget stuff to Ozarkana. Great, because I don't know if John is going to be at that one. So, James, you might take over the Yak Gadget product for that event since John probably won't be at that one. You'll probably be at a couple, maybe, John. Is that right?
Yeah,
for sure.
I may gun for the Ozarkana, to be honest. I was going to do Bowling Green, but I've now got new travel plans that is going to put me kind of out of the reach of that. But yeah, the Shoalipalooza definitely, and then I definitely want to do one or maybe even two more for sure.
Yeah, that's cool, man. We'll see at some of those, and if not, like as James just mentioned, we've got dealers for all of our sponsors who they're allowed to bring the product for you guys.
Yeah,
but we just appreciate you being a sponsor, man. And this is a good conversation. Actually, it's a good little roundtable discussion. It's funny how in the world of manufacturing and any products, there's always going to be products that are similar out there. You know what I mean? Maybe they were even inspired by the other products. I mean, look,
Yeah.
I developed a high-low seat with Jackson. Remember the Kusa? And now you can't buy a kayak without a camp chair seat on it, right? So there's always going to be that. And so I think it's interesting because we've got, Yak Attack as a sponsor. We have Yak Gadget. We have a lot of overlapping sponsors, but there's only a small overlap. You guys have some overlap with Yak Attack. You probably have maybe a couple products or one, or at least with Boondocks, a little overlap here, but we're stronger together. And this is, we're a family. We need to grow this thing together. So it's cool that even though personally I am sponsored by Yak Attack on the tournament side of things, it is cool that the KAS can bring in not just Yak Attack, but a Yak Gadget and a Boondocks and all the other brands. And yeah, there's some similar things, but it's like in the fishing world with baits, you're going to have a dark sleeper and it comes out, it's a hit. And as long as there's not a patent or someone's breaking it, other brands out there. I mean, I'm sponsored by Z-Man. They make the Govius, and I think they just saw what there is. I feel like they made some improvements on it, and so it's just kind of cool to be able to like work with multiple brands and you guys that I couldn't always even work with before. And I feel like you kind of feel a little bit different niche than a Yak Attack in a lot of ways too, because you got a lot of products that maybe don't appeal to a ton of people, the masses, but they're these niche products that you can kind of make real quick and pump them out there. And it's kind of like what Yak Attack was when they first began. Now I think their business has grown and they have business decisions to make and they have families to support and a company. So they got to make the best decisions for them. And they make killer products. And Ryan uses them as well. Yak Attack products and stuff. I don't know, Ryan, if you're associated with them or if you have other products like Yak Gadgets. But anyway, Don, anybody want to talk about that? It's just that whole thing. I think it's just something good to bring up, and talk about how this is all just one big family. We're stronger together, I think, and stronger working together and being friendly and communicating, not because we've seen what happens with Major League Fishing and Bassmaster. They're not exactly on good terms and it's not good for the sport. And we want to keep it positive here. So yeah, you guys chime in.
I'll go ahead and tee off if you guys don't mind. I think what you touched on, Drew, is very important to me. When I first got into this sport, I fell in love with it instantly.
Sorry, you're still there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, it's me. I'm new.
it's all
I'm trying
good.
to get you full screen.
Yeah, no worries. When I first got into the sport, I fell in love with it instantly. And I think where all of this came from, where Yak Gadget came from, was me being out on the water. And I was using a lot of Yak Attack products. They've been around since 2009. They were the OGs, right? And I got into the sport probably around 2015. And so for about 3 years before I started Yak Gadget, I was religiously using Yak Attack products and some Yak Gear products, things like that. And I think what I noticed right away for me was I just found that there were a lot of opportunities, maybe some areas that haven't been addressed. And also I was asking the question of, man, why does this have to cost this much? Or why isn't it like this? Or, just questions like that. And that's what really kind of got me going down the road of, hey, maybe I might try to build some things and kind of see or draw some things. I've been a graphic designer for over 30 years and I've been drawing on a computer ever since like the early 90s. So for me, it was one of those things where I said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna try to create some things that I feel in some areas that haven't been quite addressed. And that's where all this kind of came from. I really started in motor mounts because there weren't really hardly any options when I first started doing this for motor mounts. And great companies like One Objective, I know Kevin Dismuke, he was one of the OGs that was doing some of the motor mounts. Motoring on kayaks, back in 2015, 16 wasn't nearly as prevalent as it is now. Now it's almost a requirement. Now it's almost a motor in a kayak now is like peanut butter and jelly. But back then it wasn't. There weren't a lot of options. So that's where it kind of I started, and then I went from there to anchoring because I felt like there just simply weren't a lot of anchoring options unless you're going to buy like a micro power pole and some things like that. And so I was like, I think there's room And I felt like too, the sub $200 price point wasn't really being addressed. If you were buying a motor mount, it was like 300 or more. If you were buying like, an anchoring system, it was like 500 or more. So I just felt like, man, if we could hit that sub $200 price point, I felt like there was a lot of opportunity there. And then that just took me down the road of storage products. And at that time, when I came out with our crate, there weren't a ton of crate options. There was the older style black pack, but I felt like mine was a little different because I had back surgery 15 years ago, and I designed it with an angle and ergonomic reach and things like that. So I felt like, although I was making some products at the time that might have overlapped with some other people, I was definitely putting my own spin to it. And doing it in a much different way. And then that just went into even more storage stuff, like our behind the seat bag, underneath seat storage,
kept going.
Storage. It literally just went kind of like a grenade and a snowball had a baby, where it just exploded and went in so many different directions. And all of a sudden it seemed like for a while there, every other day I'm whipping out a new product. And then it went into, the phone mounts and cup holders and track mounted accessories. And that's where a little bit, overlap with Yak Attack started to occur more. However, I think if you look at our product line and you look at theirs, I think we might have 5 or 6 products that directly overlap, and the rest of it, I mean, we're bow to stern. I think we're one of the few accessories companies in the industry, if not the only. I don't know if I want to say the only one, but I think we may be, where we're bow to stern, where you can buy products from bow to stern for your kayak from us. But again, that doesn't take any away from the great, innovation that guys like Luther Cyphers has brought to this industry. In fact, I listened to a podcast of his back in December, and I was really inspired because his story has been very similar to mine, where I was listening to his experience. For the first 4 years, he didn't pay himself, and he was working night and day, and he started out of his garage, and then he, quickly built it into a location, and now he's got this huge, warehouse slash factory that he has, and that's been my experience. For the first 4 years, I really wasn't paying myself. I was constantly reinvesting what money we were making back into the business and growing, because when I first started, I didn't have 40 drills. I didn't have all these machines that we have now, all that stuff. So it's been it's been really cool to hear that, because it let me know that, I kind of you feel alone sometimes when you're doing things because you're in your own bubble. And it's really cool to see that everyone in this industry has paid a price to be here. A personal price on a personal level. And
it's true.
And if you do this and you're really committed to it, then you got to love it. And you're not thinking about a payday. You're not thinking about, you're thinking about the long run. It's like, when I think about Yak Attack, and a company like that, they built a legacy. And I feel like we're on our way of building our Yak Gadget legacy. Yeah. And
they open the door. Yeah. I mean, they open the door for companies like you to have a platform as they continue to help grow the sport. And actually, it's not much different, honestly, than what I've said on lots of podcasts about this trophy, and hopefully whatever AOIs, whatever I can do to push our sport, and what Christine Fisher just said on her latest video about the bass boat. If you think about it, whatever she can do, she may not win a bass or even make it to the elites. Hopefully she does. We'll be pulling for her, but that inspires some other young girl to go do that, and maybe she makes it to the Elite Series, or maybe she wins. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do too. Like if somebody out there it's just create positivity. If some other angler out there, if you guys all are sponsored anglers and you think everyone's your competitor, you're fighting, and they're your enemy and they're your competitor, you're looking at it the wrong way. Because if Chad Hoover gets a deal with Nissan or Ford or whatever, I've said this before, it only opens the door up for Toyota and the other companies to say, well, hey, look at them getting into this kite fishing thing. We need to do that. You know what I mean? So then that just created opportunities for other anglers. And that's what Yak Attack essentially did. They helped create an industry around the kayak fishing and with the accessories, and there's enough out there where it created an opportunity for you. So it's a compliment, and it's something I think we stay positive, work together, like you're talking about. I mean, you were one of the nicest guys in the industry. Had lots of good times with you at shows. You're everywhere. You're working hard, and we are kind of maybe trained, maybe like brainwashed isn't the word, but like it's just we're a competitive society. So once you align with a brand, everyone else is automatically enemy, and they're the evil and they're enemy. They're bad. We got to and that's not the way.
Yeah.
It's not the reality that if you go over to those companies, those people that work there are hardworking, good, funny, nice people, the same way that you're just a good dude too.
And extremely talented.
So,
right.
Yeah. Talented. There's nothing. Yeah. But I mean, there's probably some jerks out there. Don't get me wrong.
Well, no. And I'm not going to sit here and say I've been perfect about it. When I first came into this industry, one thing I noticed about this industry is it's close knit.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, when you first got, at least when I first got in 18, it might be a lot more open now, but it felt close knit, especially on the manufacturing side. And people, like, I was going around at KAS and some of these other events, trying to meet some of these people, and they were kind of like, "Hey, who's this dude?" And I'll be honest with you, for the first couple of years, it was kind of like, I kind of felt like it was kind of combative in the sense that I kind of felt like, okay, it's me versus everybody. All right, I guess I gotta have a lot of confidence in who I am and just push this out there regardless and do my own thing regardless. And you kind of have to do that a little bit. Not everybody's going to be as welcoming as you would like, but I think now I totally understand. I understand that now. I'm not nearly as offended about it as I once was, and I think too, I'm a lot. I don't know. I think I've had my I've had my imperfections in it as well, but I think what I've learned now is that you're absolutely right. The more supportive we are of each other, and the thing about it is, everyone's got talent in this. I mean, if you look at all the innovations that's happened in the last 5 years alone, and you compare that to what's happened prior, I mean, the technology of the holes that you're seeing on the kayaks now, all the development that's happening. I mean, I just got the Crescent K-Craft in the shop, and I turned that boat over and looked at the hull and the Sholey as well. The technology that's happening now and the development of these products and the rapid prototyping that's happening, it's an exciting time to do this, to be into this, and also to see all the things. Look at all what Yak Attack as a company has put out, and in the last few months alone. And then look at what we put out, and you look at what we put out, with our cool front facing sonar mount, our quad rail system. Now we have a side rail system. Yeah, we've been able to make a lot of product specific stuff as well. I think that's some of those niches you kind of mentioned earlier.
The anglers win. Yeah, the anglers are winning basically with all this. It's a good thing. The anglers are winning. I mean, what do you think, Ryan? I mean, about this topic a little bit. You have any thoughts? I mean,
I mean, I believe that it's always good bringing a new company into our community because it just helps everybody grow. I mean, because like you said, a lot of things are spinoffs. So Yak Gadget, Yak Attack may have something similar. Then somebody says, well, I wonder if I tweaked this a little bit and did their version of it. I don't think it hurts anybody. I mean, because people are going to buy the products they want to buy, whether it's Yak Attack, Yak Gadget, etc. There's going to be little tweaks on every product that people are going to like a little bit better. Doesn't mean that Yak Gadget and Yak Attack have bad products. This guy may have something new coming out, or girl, whoever's making something. So I believe the more we bring into this industry, the better it is for us to keep growing. That's why I really started what I did, really getting involved with, RJM Fishtails, is just to be part of the community, help grow. Because when I was just down here in Alabama, there was a bass boater at the ramp, and he gave a few people a hard time about it, giving us a hard time about, loading our kayaks on a trailer. And they're saying, well, how long is it going to take you guys to do that? And we all said, we're going to be faster than it is for you to unload and load your bass boat by a long shot. And he just, kind of huffed away and et cetera. So we're just we all need to push the kayak community to everybody and let everybody understand we're just anglers. We're just using a different vessel.
That's it.
Yeah, it's true, man. I mean, there's always going to be, if a product is popular and it sells well, I mean, this is the reality of business. And if you get into business, you got to understand that you're going to have somebody else is going to see that, realize that, and there's some profit to be made, and essentially, make a version of their own that you're going to tweak it, make it improve on it. And that's just the reality. And I would rather it be a good guy like you, John, than somebody overseas, which that happens too. And let's band together and continue to push people in the US here to buy from your Yak Attacks and Yak Gadgets instead of anyone who's just knocking it off verbatim, and there isn't any tweaks and adjustments like you're doing on the few things or whatever, or so that's what we got to just stress to people. Let's keep. That's why that we always tell people, let's keep trying to spend dollars with those who are supporting the series like this, and the KBFs and the Bassmasters and the Hobies and the All-Americans and all the local clubs that are around the country. The ones who are supporting us, let's support them. It'd be like, why would you go to a random pizza place if your uncle owns one in town? You're going to go to your uncle's.
Right.
He cares about you. You know him. You guys care about us. You know us. So let's continue to do that, guys. And
it's a great point, Drew, because I also think too, on the flip side of that, I want to buy products from people that actually do what I do. Like, and what I mean by that is like, if I'm a kayak fisherman,
right,
then I want to buy a product from a guy who's also a kayak fisher. I'm a kayak fisherman. I got into this. I got into this business and started this business because I love this sport. I love being on a kayak. I love catching a fish from a kayak. There's no better feeling for me than doing that. And the same for some of my competitors as well. And competition is awesome for any industry because, like you said, and you alluded to it, the consumers win. Yeah. Now price points are better on a lot of these accessories than they once were. If you compare those prices, what you saw before pre-COVID, even to now, even with some inflation, like we've worked hard to keep our prices down, even with the inflation. Like, and we've worked to actually improve our margins on a lot of things that we create now, because I've considered that to be extremely important. Not only am I going to continue to be in the sport and do this, but also continue to be value conscientious and to be and to give you more bang for your buck, give you multiple functions. Like I may have a product that does 3 things instead of 1 thing, and then all of a sudden now you get it, like our cup holder XD. Yeah, you put your pliers, you can put your tools, you can put your baits on it. You can use it as a bait caddy in addition to a cup holder. So I try to give you a lot more function, bang for your buck. So even if we raise the price on it by 50 cents or 75 cents, you're still getting like 3 times the value because it does more than just 1 thing. So I think that's the mentality that I think has benefited us over these last 6 years, and we've seen our business grow because of it. And it, like you said too, with all the overseas and all the other stuff, at first I worried about that too. It's like, man, somebody's going to see what I do and they're just going to copy me or whatever. And now I've kind of realized, but we're doing more than just making a product. Right. We're growing a brand. We're growing we're trying to grow a relationship of trust. If you want good products that you know is going to help you out there on the water, you know that Gadget's going to give that to you. And that's a lot stronger to develop that bond, especially with this group of users. It matters.
It does. We're tight knit.
That's it. And I've seen that. That's why I worked the fishing expos, because the consumer shows are great. We did KAS last year. That was fun, but it's not the same spirit. And so now this year I don't plan on even having a booth at KAS, because quite frankly, I'd rather just go to more fishing expos, because being in Indianapolis and seeing you there and seeing Gene Jensen there, but also seeing all of our customers, and we've got sales to support that it was worth us being at that show, or being at Columbus, or being in Cincinnati, or being in Knoxville at the East Tennessee show, because I get to connect directly with the people that use our stuff, and they tell me the good and the bad, and I write down the good and the bad, and we make improvements on it. Right now, our front facing sonar mount, this morning I was drawing up some improvements to improve our handle and improve the connector for the transducer. So we live and die on feedback, man. I mean, our feedback is lifeblood for our company. And so I'm always going to bring that passion to it. I'm always going to bring that energy to it. And I'm always going to focus on our consumers, because they're the ones buying my product day in and day out. So it's like,
exactly.
I always say, I'll end this with this. I always say this is my motto. I'll keep making stuff as long as people keep buying it. So they're the lifeblood. If I'm not simple. Exactly. If I'm not listening to you guys, who am I listening to? Right. I have an idea of what I think is a good idea. It doesn't matter if the consumer base doesn't connect to it, use it, or buy it. So our whole thing is continuing to innovate by listening, innovate by including, and having an inclusive environment. I love it when customers email me and tell me their thoughts. And I try to always, and I'm not always perfect about getting back to people right away because we get snowed under pretty easily sometimes.
Yeah.
But I love it. The feedback is everything. And so I think that's been, if anything, if there's one thing that I can point to the growth of our business, I think it's just been our adaptiveness to that feedback and how much we live off of it. And it matters. And to be able to make products the way that we make them means that we can also adjust them and improve them quickly as well.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we look forward to it, man. We'll look forward to seeing you at Palooza, and people could check out some of those products.
100%.
And then we'll transition to Billy. You want to find the viewer voicemail, and we're going to talk to Ryan about the KBFNC. But before we do, I will just say one cool story that you reminded me of before we go to Ryan here about the NC and this voicemail. Back at one of the shows, it might have been a outdoor retailer trade show. When China, if someone from China, they'll go and they'll see and they'll snoop around the booths and look at everything and take pictures, and it's basically just copy verbatim. But someone came up to, it was Marty Cronin from Jackson at the time, our VP of sales, and he told us this story. It was an Asian woman. She came up and she could barely speak English, and she was asking Marty about the products, and she just was like, "But explain to me what it does." Like, they're making them. They were making them. They were copying them basically. She's like, "What is this for? What does it do?" Didn't even understand what they were making and selling and what it was for. And that's the difference. That's the disconnect. Like, you're saying you are a kayak angler. You love this sport. You're in it. You do it. Yep. And our sport's so tight knit, like you're saying, and just so we're so passionate about it. We don't want to buy from someone who has not even a clue what they're making or what it's for. I mean, if we can help it, if you don't only have $200 or $300 and you got to buy the cheapest kayak you can find from Walmart, that's great. Just to get you in the sport, let's do it. But otherwise, I think no one would choose that, if they don't have to. So anyway, that was a funny story about what they have going over there. And
I'll say this real quick is the thing that I've also learned too about overseas production too, is that, yeah, they can make things, and they can make things actually very well, and they can copy, but they don't understand connectivity to the market, and they also don't really innovate. They don't bring a lot of new things to the table, and I think that's an advantage that Americans and American-minded business people and entrepreneurs are always going to have an advantage over. Yeah, and that's why I kind of don't worry, and that's why I used to worry about it all the time, and now I don't worry about it at all because I'm focused on what we're doing, because they can make all the stuff they want to make, but if it's not done a certain way and it's not done with a certain understanding of the market and also has that brand connectivity like I talked to you before, it only goes so far. Like, you can get a better deal on something on Amazon, but at the end of the day, the innovation and the products you really pay attention to are the ones usually coming from American-led.
Yeah, exactly.
Innovation, pretty much.
That's true. What do you want to do here, Billy? You want to do the voicemail or talk to Ryan first about?
Yeah, my connection was kind of acting up, so I wasn't sure. I didn't want to be a distraction to the live stream. We have a lot of people watching, so I can let me hit this and see if it'll play. And then also, before the end of this live stream, we want to put up that number and encourage you guys to call in. If you want to be on the live stream or your voice on the live stream, call in, leave a message. So I'm going to play one that we actually got.
We did get one.
Hey, it's Brady Stores. I'm new to kayak fishing, and I was wondering about lodging at some of these bigger national tournaments. What kind of price am I looking at to stay? Do I camp or do I get a house with somebody? Thanks.
Yeah, that's cool. That's funny. Brady
Stores.
He was joking there a little bit.
We want to hear it. We want to keep hearing it. I guess it plays over if you don't stop it.
So Brady, I saw him at the Bassmaster Expo, and he was saying, he was obviously joking with us about he's new to kayak fishing, but his question, he said he wanted to answer because it was something he had to get figured out for these national tournaments. And if you'll notice on the Kayak Adventure Series website, if you go to, kayakadventureseries.com, I can just even share my screen and just show you what I'm talking about here. If you click on one of the events like Palooza right here, you can just scroll down. We've got a lot of lodging options for you guys down here. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
If you go to the event detail, the basic event information, Just scroll down to that. And we actually have a lot of lodging here, the recommended lodging and camping. And even a new one just got added, the Riverbend Primitive Camp. It's like $25 a day, 120 a week. You're right on the river. It's primitive, so you obviously have to be prepared for that. But all the other things are right here. You got your Airbnbs, your hotels. Some people like hotels. Some people would rather have Airbnbs. Some people want a campground, cabins. The Flint River Outdoor Center usually has a lot of room. So click on every one of these events, guys, and you'll see the lodging there. We try to help you out the best we can. There's obviously other lodging options besides that our website, but that's a good question from Brady. And mainly just join the Discord and get to know. This is all about a community, right? This kayak adventure series and kayak fishing as a whole. Get to know other anglers, and next thing you know, Ryan, you're probably like, hey, guy, you talk to your friends like, hey, who wants to team up and get a house together or a cabin or share hotels or whatever. And you just start to create these friendships and bonds. So that's my answer to that question. If anyone's got something to chime in on it, feel free. But
yeah, I mean, you range, like you said, you range from $25 a night to possibly up to $150 a night, depending what how luxury you want. I mean, for the national championship, I was there for a week and I paid like $9 something for like a cabin, but it was, fully air conditioning, heat, bathroom, the whole shebang.
Mm-hmm.
I was by myself this time, but I mean, it was only, to me, that's pretty inexpensive. It's a lot of money for one individual, but I mean, for what it was actually a good price. So, I mean, it was a whole week.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Sign up and book soon. I would say that's my advice. Russ Snyders and I talked about that on the episode with how important that is. And dude, I mean, this right here is an example of that. We literally had a house 5 minutes from the ramp at the river. Now, I didn't know I was going to 100% fish the river. It was obviously like high on my list at that tournament, but I wanted to make sure I had a good house. It was close to Tahlequah, which was our event headquarters. It was a comfortable house, and it was the prettiest view on the entire lake. I mean, we were on a hill overlooking the entire lake. It was beautiful. So all the guys there can attest. It was like, so, and that helps you just be comfortable. That's less driving you have to do every day. It's just better. So book soon, book for Shoalipalooza. And also don't forget to register, which we mentioned earlier, for Shoalipalooza ASAP, because you can't get that refund up to 2 days or move it to another event. So you want to get that $100 prize bag by being the first 100 anglers. And we're going to be getting there very quickly with the way signups are going. So, all right. So Ryan, we were kind of trying, you had an echo going on. We were trying to get some information about how things went at the KBF NC and also just how excited you are for some of these events. So, and then while we're talking to Ryan, everyone out there watching, see Steve Baker just came in to chime in about how beautiful that house was. It was, but, ask your question. We wanted to answer some of your questions in today's show too. So ask any questions you have and we will answer them, just like we answer Brady's voicemail. So, all right, Ryan, what you got, man? How was the NC? It was grueling. I know you said you wouldn't do it again. I think you just mean like 5 straight days again. You probably want to go to the NC again. Chad and KBF, they put on a great event as always. And it's still the second most amount of money I've ever won. This 20,000 for getting second. I think it was 23.5 by the time I had some extra bonus money and stuff like that. So I mean, you will do that again, but maybe not all 5 days straight, because once you put in pre-fishing on top of that, it is. I mean, unless you're just like 17 years old, I can't do that much anymore. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. So, I went down there with no pre-fishing because I just don't have enough PTO. But I've been to Gunnersville 2 other times. So I had a few places I kind of had in mind. And my first day, I just got that video out yesterday. I just forgot to put it out. I'm going to actually break up my video for YouTube into 3 separate days for the national championship. And then I had the trail series. But, I went down with no pre-fishing. First day was okay. I lost, fish at the boat because I didn't net it. No, actually that day I didn't net at all. And except after I lost that fish. But, I lost one, so I only had 4 on the board. Second day I had 5, and then the last day I only had 2, I think, on the board because, with the conditions, we had 25-mile-per-hour winds on day 1 with higher gusts. Second day, it sustained around 15, and then the last day, it finally started to subside a bit. And then when the trail events came, it was beautiful. So you'll see all that information on my video and how that all turned out. But it was good. It was a good event. I think Wyatt won the national, and then Russ took 3rd place. I think Mike Elsey took 2nd place for the national championship. And then the trail series came about. So the funny story is, Russ was down there. He wasn't even going to come because they had the flu. I guess he talked to Chad, and Chad had kind of convinced him to come. He just kind of showed up, the board check, like at the end of the board check, kind of did his thing and kind of took off and just trying to recoup. And he went out. He did good for the national championship. Like I said, he got third place. And then Trail 1 on Saturday, he came out and won it. And the funny story behind that is the wind was still kind of higher when you're out in the main body of water. So he was on Lake Wheeler. And I looked at the leaderboard. I only looked every now and then. And I said, wow, even Russ is having a hard time today. He only has 2 fish. And that was around like 11:30. Well, it makes me feel a little better. So I looked at the end of the day, and Russ wins Trail 1. And he moved from Wheeler at 11:30. So it's leaving you only 3 hours left. It took him an hour to move, reset up. So he had 2 hours on Lake Gunnersville. And with 2 hours left on Lake Gunnersville, he wins the Trail 1.
Wow.
So for you to move, be sick, and win the event in 2 hours is amazing. He didn't pre-fish either. He's been there before. He has his marks on his graph and everything, but he did no pre-fishing. But for him to do third place in the national, win the trail event on day 1, and he probably would have won the trail event on day 2, but he finally gave out and had to go home. Saturday night he called Chad around 10:30 and says, I just can't do it anymore, and he went home.
He's done. Yeah, he's probably still sleeping right now. He's probably sleeping. He's a beast. Yeah. Russ is. I think I've always said it. He's like the number 1 ranked. If in my head I've got if there was like a rankings, he would be number 1, no doubt about it. Yeah. He fishes a lot more. You guys all fish a lot more than I do. Really, I know it seems like I fish a lot more than I do probably, but man, if I could fish more, I still think Russ he just understands it so well, man. He's so good at it. He's the best in my opinion. I mean, like Joe's saying here, dude's a beast. He's awesome, man. A good dude too. Very, very smart, knowledgeable. And he's going to be at Shoalipalooza. He's teaming up actually with Steve Baker, who was just on here on the team division. But Russ is also going to fish a couple of these Kayak Adventure Series events. So don't be threatened by that. Like we've said before in these things, go use it to your advantage. Hang out with Russ at the opening ceremonies, at the restaurants, the breweries, all the places we're going to be, at the after party, at the festival. He will tell you and talk to anybody, like anybody, in this sport. If you just want to go hang out, meet him and say, hey, this is my name, I've been following you, big fan. He'll talk to you about whatever you want to talk to him about, give you tips, pointers. He's open. He's going to be teaching one of the ACA classes with Dustin and Jeff Little. So again, sign up for that and glean some serious information being with him all day. And it'll be worth it for sure. So man, rough event sounds like for a lot of people out there though, aside from those winners, although a lot of guys did, there were several that really cracked them pretty good, which it always happens. But
I ended up 72. So my wife says, well, you ended up better than half the field. And one of the judges said the same thing to me as well, via the text. And I says, yeah, but I could have, if I didn't lose that fish on day 1 and I did better on day 3, I could have been in the top 20. I mean, Chad was paying out to, 15th place. So I had a good shot at it. I just, just lost it.
You're right there, dude. Right there.
So I'll take it. I got my, my 100 board and, as I call it, the participation trophy, but at least I made the top 100 and, and everything else. And then the trail ended up 20, trail 2, trail 1, it was horrible. Trail 2 ended up, I think 24th maybe.
Okay.
Out of like 45 or 46. So, I mean, I just kind of ran mid-level this time around, but the national championship for 25, Chad already has that out. I'm already qualified for it right now with just making the top 100. I'll probably go back to it if I have time. It's going to be tight. But he's guaranteeing, I don't want to take his thunder away yet because I don't think he's made the announcement, but he's guaranteeing, I think, 50 at the 25 payout, and he's going to break it up differently and spread that wealth more down the board. I'll let him talk about that. And he is planning on bringing back $100,000 guarantee payout in 26 for the national championship. So once again, breaking it out and spreading the wealth among all of us who work so hard at it. So it's just not like, everybody gets the top 3 get all the money. He's really going to bring that down on the board, which is going to be good for a lot of people to really, want to come out and do that.
Good, man. Good. Well,
so he did it.
We want to see that. We want to see that get back. There were times it was 700 people, and that's why I won $23,000 for second place. So I'd love to see it continue to grow. And we all are working really good together behind the scenes. Chad and AJ and Steve Owens, and just trying to coordinate all these schedules. It's tough, and there will be a little overlap, like we talked about with John, Yak Gadget, and Yak Attack. There will always be a weekend or two here or there where some of these big events are going to overlap. And typically when that happens, we try to make them on different parts of the country, but it's just giving anglers more opportunities. And it's really not not a bad thing. It's okay. We'll make it if there's a little overlap here and there, and it's better for everybody. So what I want to mention was the difference. You're probably excited about Shoalipalooza because you get to fish in the afternoon, which isn't rough, just 3 to 7 on that first Friday afternoon. Like all the Kayak Adventure Series events, all the anglers, you guys will fish from 3 to 7 on Friday. Hopefully you'll be attending those seminars earlier that day on Friday, the Bass University brunch, the Bass U brunch. It's going to be pretty cool. You can go on the website for Shoalipalooza and sign up for it now. Limited number of people there, but you get breakfast and you get to learn from the best fisheries biologist about the shoal bass, Jeff Little, myself. There's a YouTuber panel. Gene Jensen's going to do a seminar on rigging at the very beginning. So lots of good intel to be had there. But I mean, you got to be kind of excited about a 5-fish tournament where it's 3 to 7, and then only one time you got to get up early on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And that's it. That'll be a little easier for some of us. And this is this is kind of a gateway tournament trail series, entry level to a lot of anglers. Hopefully will expand and grow up if they find more of that just super high competitive, elite level events or something they want to tackle too. This is a good starting point. And like I said, we'll have some big names at fishing for sure, but most of the big names will still be on that, the elite of the elite, like talent. It's definitely going to still be, on that Bassmaster series, the Hobies, the KBFs for sure. So you got to be excited though, about this format being a little bit different and a little bit more laid back and
absolutely. It's going to give me, I'm coming to be competitive, but I'm also coming to bring, to have fun at doing this, be with all you guys and actually have my family with me this time to be able to bring, let them go do all the, the stuff while I'm out in the water. And it's just, I think it's good. If you can bring your family with you, it always makes it a lot better because when you're away from your kids and your wife, it's tough, especially for a week. But I was so busy this time and so tired that it wasn't as bad as normally. But if you ask my wife, I text her all the time. I miss you. I love you. It was always tough being away from her for a long period of time, but she also helps me prep too as well. So when I'm by myself, I lost 4 pounds down there because I barely ate. So just like I'm just constantly going. She would have food ready for me and stuff, which always makes it nice. So that's going to make it a little bit of a nicer event. And then when I go back to the Susky, I'm going to be able to see my mother, which I only get to see once every few years. She'll be there, and hopefully she'll come down to the event and be able to watch. Hopefully me and whoever else walk across the stage. So your whole the whole format with being on the stages and the old historical theaters really, I think to me is making it fun for a lot of new people that want to do this. Like you said, to open them up to other other events.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have is there a question or anything we need to post here? You guys have a question? You guys watching? Anybody want to have something answered? We can do it. Otherwise, I'll bring up one other. If anyone needs to leave, by the way, if you guys getting busy, I know you got work schedules and stuff. Hop out. We're probably not going to go much longer.
I'm going to head out here in a minute, Drew, but also wanted to just remind everyone that the events are always, not always, but they're paired up with other trails. So the Peach State kayak anglers, because as we talk about the team event and the micro bag, don't forget about the local trail too. A great way to kind of double dip.
And they do not have their Turn EX page. I actually messaged them earlier or last week and said, as soon as you guys get your Turn EX page made where people can register for your event, let me know, because it's we're less than a month away. So I'm sure the Peach State guys are looking forward to getting registered for that event along with our event. So as soon as they have that up and live, it'll go. That registration button on the website will literally go to Turn EX, no longer just to their Facebook group page, which is where it goes now. So coming soon. But I mean that we pretty much gone an hour. We can certainly talk about something else. If we want to talk real quick, there's a short thing I was going to mention, but Billy, if you got to get going, you run, get back to work. Thanks for hanging out with us, and I appreciate you as always.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, guys.
See you later, Billy.
See you. This is a good comment. Actually, Jesse is saying that if people want to pre-fish Wapapello, KAMO, which is Kayak Anglers Missouri, I guess, has a tournament on April 27th. I'm not super familiar with the group, but I assume that's what it is. Jesse, you can back me up on that probably here in the comments. But obviously, I'm familiar with Moyak and other ones, but it's hard to keep track of every state club. So forgive me. It's probably like some giant club, and I just don't know. But Wapapello is on their schedule on April 27th, which is cool that she brought this up, because the way our rules are, you can pre-fish 4 days within a 2-week window. 4 days. You get to pick which 4. So if this obviously isn't the Georgia event, but let's say April 27th was a tournament in Georgia from a local club, then you could fish that event, even if it was 2 days, and you still have 2 more days to fish, pre-fish. So it lets you fish any events like that, but and then also fish the Kayak Adventure Series. Also, just something to note too, which we're gonna have a rules. Have Amanda Brandon on with the rules, and she is confirming it's Kayak Anglers of Missouri. We're gonna have Amanda Brandon on too. Which so someone did ask this question, but I'll clarify this now. And this is, no one has to watch these live streams. It's not the actual rules, but I'll just say it in case anyone is. The four days of practice within a 2-week window. If you sign up for the tournament on Thursday at the opening ceremonies, like literally sign up then, it still applies to you. Just because you don't sign up until a day or two before the tournament begins, that still applies. So in other words, you cannot sign up for the tournament and legally sign up and fish this tournament if you've been fishing the whole 7 days leading up to it, and then all of a sudden you sign up and say, well, I wasn't registered yet, so technically I wasn't breaking the rule. That's like a way you're trying to get around that rule. So you still can't fish the events if you fish more than 4 days within a 2-week window. So, but yeah, Wapapello, I know that this spring, a couple of 30-pound bags got caught out of Lake Wapapello. So they're in there, guys. I don't know, in July if they'll be as easy to catch, but they're obviously in there. And with the technology being allowed and forward-facing sonar, somebody may go get one of John's forward-facing sonar brackets mounts and go out there, and they're there. Like, go find them. They're in that lake, and they're big, and they're also in all the rivers. So that's going to be a fun event. But that's pretty cool. But the only thing I was going to mention, and I want to get your opinion on it, is I'm about to sign up. I've already signed up. I'm about to do my first fish tip on fishtips.com. And that was a controversial platform when it started. It probably still is, but to some degree. But basically what it is fishtips.com is simply like, you can go on there and, buy a, I can pull it up on my browser here, but have you guys heard of that website?
Yeah. I think Gene's on there. Gene started it. It was on there too, I think.
Yeah, I met those guys. Had a booth right next to me at KAS, so I got to meet them. And
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and I like Austin and what he stands for, what he says, and he kind of is making. He makes a lot of sense in the fact that, I don't have my mine up yet, but what it is you can just go on there, and a lot of maybe guides are on here or pro anglers are on here, and they certify and verify everybody. So this guy's got a picture of someone he guided on a big fish, and they'll just give you, if you don't want to spend the $500 or $700 or whatever it is that guys charge these days for a whole day, you can just go in there and buy. If you got all the equipment to do it yourself, and maybe you don't have the time to watch every YouTube video, and you're not as into this stuff as we might be, right? You can go on there and buy a tip, and it'll help you dial it in right away. And so I think that was a little bit controversial to some people, because like, man, this is like. So you could just buy waypoints and coordinates and stuff like that. And it's like what Austin says, and it makes sense, is until the tournament trails change the rules, and they probably never will, using a guide is legal for up to a certain point in all these tournaments. Using a guide is legal, but that's no different than knowing a best friend who happens to live on Lake Chickamauga. Right. I've got Elite Series pros. Look, Miles Berghoff is on Chick. I could call him up and tell me what they're doing. That's totally legal up to a certain point, right? Yeah. So a guide, when they take you out, you're going to pay them for the information, how to catch the fish in that lake, and you're going to ask them about, what about 3 weeks from now when my tournament is, and if they waypoints, you could certainly just get them from you're out there in the water with them or whatever. All those transactions happen in our sport already. And so the only thing Fish Tips is saying is, let's let the anglers, as we all know, John, we've talked about this earlier with how tough the industry is. We're in it because we're passionate about it, not really because no one's getting rich, right? So if the anglers can have another way to get a source of revenue, and let them just put their tips and their information out there, and they could limit it. So like when I get on there, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm not a fan of, you guys know my philosophy. I want to teach. I'm a teacher. I want to teach people how to fish, not just say, go here. I want to tell them why I'm telling them to go there. You know what I mean? And then they don't need me anymore at one point. And maybe that's stupid from a business model, but that's not my entire business, isn't teaching fishing, right? But I just want to help people catch more fish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on there, and I'm going to have, I'm going to limit it to one person, because you can limit it. You can make the price. I think Ish Monroe's got a 30-minute phone call for $1,000. So if someone wants to pay Ish $1,000 for a 30-minute phone call, then go for it. But I don't know what my price is going to be, but I'm going to go on there and put tournament consultation, and I will take one person from any tournament out there. There'll be certain ones lakes and certain places that I may not allow, but like basically if you're going to a tournament and I'm not in that tournaments, I'll consult with you and tell you what I would do. Here's what I would do in strategy for my style. I can't tell you where to go live scope and how to do all that and where the offshore stuff's going to be. But for my strategy and my style, I can teach you guys like tournament consultation, and you can I can work with you and have a couple different phone calls, up to the point where you no longer can get information, obviously, but about, what you're thinking and what we're seeing with the river gauges and the weather and a water temp and the stuff like that. And just kind of teach you guys no different than the seminars I do, right? The virtual seminars, which I'm still going to do those virtual seminars, but this is different because here's what's cool about it. It gets me to get to know somebody on a one-on-one personal level, which is what I love. I'd rather not put all my juice out there on YouTube for the entire world to know. And now, does anyone have an advantage? If you've given it to everybody, now no one has the advantage because it's just free given to everybody. And you could probably find a lot of the stuff I'm going to teach and consult you on out there somewhere in the internet net, somewhere, maybe there, but not all that one concise place on a quick virtual, just like we are now. Let's break down this lake. Let's figure out, let me help you just figure out where, maybe just try to start pre-fishing and a strategy for the overall tournament. And once you start to learn and develop the strategy and the plan that I've been able to put together and it's worked well for me, I think you'll pick it up yourself and start to be able to take it on your own, and you won't need me anymore. So I'm going to do it for one event. I'm not going to do it for 2 or 3 people in the same tournament because I'm not going to give the same information to multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
But it allows, it's another little revenue stream that my information and my knowledge, like you would never go call up a lawyer and say, tell me what I should do about this legal situation. He's going to say, well, sure, here's my fee. You know what I mean? Like, here's my, like this information cost me, hundreds of thousands of dollars of time and money and being on the water to learn this. It's not like with your job, whatever, John, like, someone calls you up, or Ryan with what you do, like, and wants you to help them for an hour. It's not like, of course you'd expect to get paid what you get paid. Right. So it's no different than that. It's just, I want to help people and get to know them on a personal level so I can cheer them on, root them on, and know them personally, and as opposed to just giving information out to everybody so the whole world's got it. And then you can monetize that in a different way where you get more views and clicks, and YouTube will pay you. But no, I don't have time for that. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't have time to post stuff constantly to get into the algorithm to be like up high and giveaway. So I got the kids and the family, like you guys are saying, and so that's just how I would want to do it. And then I get to pull for that person, one-on-one, or those several people that I consult. And it'll be interesting to see if anyone wants to buy those tips or not. But it'll be fun.
I think an hour, if you did like an hour phone call with you and they're going into a serious tournament, when they're allowed to do it and talk to you about this, I think, 250 is a good number. You know, I think, in my opinion, I don't know if you're looking to go higher, but I think 250 is a good number if they're really serious about winning the competition.
Yeah. It's a lot, and it may be, maybe it's adjusted for local club events, or you know what I mean, or national events or whatever. I mean, but basically, what I would do is do a live stream just like this and click share my screen. Like I'll go right now, and I would go. I'll pull it up right now. I'll pull up like I talked about Far Wide, and we'll wrap this up here in like 5-10 minutes. But I'll go to Far Wide right now, and I'll pull up what I was going to show you guys. So here's one way I use Far Wide. I don't know what this lake is. I just randomly went to a lake. It's is it Salt Creek is Lake Monroe. This is Lake Monroe in Indiana. And what I use Far Wide for a lot is obviously there's the GIS data, which can help you hang on. Public land. Hang on. They changed the way it works, whatever. But there's somewhere on here is the GIS data. Here it is. Sorry, I just hit the wrong thing. So I can see what's public land, what's private land, stuff like that, in order to access, pre-fishing, maybe some different places that, I can just find. This is just good to know. Forget tournaments. It's just good to have that GIS data. You can click and see if this is like, this is that's some trust from somebody. This is the United States of America land here, all that in green there. So you could certainly find a road and go over there. But let me remove that, and I'll show you a cool thing about Far Wide. This is, if I click on this creek, it'll tell me it's North Fork Salt Creek. And this is 42.7 miles. And my rule of thumb is 20 miles. And if you click on it, it's 20 miles of creek. It's usually floatable for at least that last like 5 miles. You know what I mean? 5 or maybe 10, but usually 5 miles. And obviously you've got a lot of tributaries you can click on. See, that's 7 miles right there. So you need to start adding all that up. And obviously I don't need to add this up because this is 42. I already know this whole thing right here. You can see it highlights it's called North Fork Salt Creek. I have no clue if there's fish in this thing, but basically from the headwaters of it down, it's 42, and there's probably some pretty good sized tributaries that flow into it, like this one here, that are also, well, sometimes it'll cut off like that. It'll cut off when there's little different branches of creeks. So you got to zoom in, click on that one. So that's 3.3, and I could add it to this one here, which is another 4 miles. So you're looking at, 7 or 8 miles of, that's not counting other little tributaries and drainages that come into it. So basically, I like to add stuff up, and you can go to, there's another creek down here. It's, let's find out what this one is. This one's 22.3 miles. This is called Middle Fork Salt. So that one right there, and there's another one down here that's another 21.6 miles, the South Fork Salt Creek. So there's probably fish in South Fork. There's fish in this one here. And that just kind of helps you gauge. And when you zoom out, you can really start to see the topographic map there, like the terrain map, where the drainages all go. Like this is the ridge of a mountain right here. So you can kind of get this an idea of the actual size of the drainage of that entire creek. You see what I'm saying? You kind of start, the more and more you do it, the more you kind of realize, how much water is going there. You can combine that with Google satellite imagery to see if there's deep water in there and holes and stuff like that. And, just kind of find fishable water in the small creeks and rivers and tributaries that I like to fish or explore. So anyway, Far White's pretty cool app, but I'll go and do stuff like that and go on Google Earth Pro and use the satellite imagery and use the USGS river gauges and the weather and the Omnia app we talked about, and teach somebody how to kind of learn and dissect a fishery quicker. It's all about being efficient in a tournament. So I'll be offering those, and I don't know, 250. We'll see. Probably might go a little bit less than that. Even we'll see, just to get some people started and get them going and see if they feel it's worth it and whatnot. So be on the lookout for that. And they also sponsoring the Kayak Adventure Series. So I appreciate those guys at fishtips.com. But what do you guys think about that? Any other comments on Fish Tips or the consulting, the 101 consulting?
Yeah. Well, I want to say this just because I've seen it in person. Drew, I've seen him do his seminars 3 or 4 times working these shows.
Yeah.
You guys want to take advantage of this because it's like getting a master's class in fishing. Like, just to see, like, I've seen a lot of seminars because I work these shows a lot, and to see him come up is completely different because he's laying it all out. He's giving you everything, how he dissects an area, how he looks at the water temperature, how he looks at the flow, where the oxygen's coming from, the tributaries, all these things. He's given it's like a science class that you're taking when you're listening to him. And I'll be honest too, like I've seen some people when they walk away from the seminar, and I'll kind of look at them. I'm like, it's a lot to take in because it's so much information being given to you. And so taking advantage of Fish Tips from someone like Drew, who's proven, it's an awesome thing. And it's something that I might even take advantage of myself.
It's worth, I know it'll be worth it, man. I don't share a lot of the juice out there. I don't, man. But when those seminars happen, John, like as you've seen, I'm getting paid to be there. You know what I mean? Right. And I'm giving you, putting on the best information, the best show, and entertaining. I use video, and I'll bring in video illustrations as well to show you. Here's what I mean about this type of paddle stroke or this certain cast and this certain piece of structure.
Where's the sun? The location of the sun. I learned so much about that from you. And what side of the river are you on when the sun is at a certain position? All these things matter.
It does.
It's so cool to get that kind of like point-to-point knowledge when you're developing a strategy to work a tournament. So I think this is it's kind of a natural fit for you too, I think.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love it, man. I do. The classes are fun. We're going to do the classes again. I'll set them up. They're usually like $100. And so they're a lot less expensive because 10 people join it at one time, like maximum of 10. I think we'll do minimum of 5. So when you get them to heal at one time, it's kind of cool because now you kind of have, maybe somebody's got a question you didn't have, and you all kind of learn and bounce ideas back and forth together with me. And then at the end of the day, it's no different than your business, John, that you just want the anglers to have options and have a good experience on the water, more comfortable, more efficient, whatever. So they have a better time on the water and catch more fish. I just want to see people having a good time in the water and catch more fish, but it just doesn't feel right if I just put it out there publicly to the world. It's like, then it's everyone's got the same information, and in a competitive setting, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't like, I've spent so much time learning that stuff, it's like, can't just give it away for free.
If you go to college, it costs money. If you go to trade school, it costs money. If you go to any kind of class or any kind of for your profession, it's going to cost money. So to me, I mean, if you get in on the 10-person class at $100 a pop, I mean, that's a deal. I mean, that's a huge deal.
Oh yeah.
Something that some different strategies and some habits that you can develop that will help you put you into money in the long run in tournament fishing. It'll pay for itself. But even if it doesn't, even if it just helps you enjoy the water more, you're getting your money's worth. And that's kind of the way I've kind of looked at it, is the products that we put out, are we giving people their money's worth? If that answer is always yes, then it's a successful relationship. It's the same way with you.
Agree.
And seeing these seminars in person, I can attest it's valuable information that you'd be getting for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks,
and
man.
The best things about seminars too, like you said, it's a lot of information you're taking in. Record it, record it with your phone, record it with your GoPro, and then you can go back and just listen to it again if you missed what Drew said or whatever.
I record it. I'll record it, by the way, and I'll send you a link afterwards. I send the people that do my classes a link because StreamYard, the platform we're using, it allows us to record this. Well, it's recording it now, but then it also afterwards gives you a link to. It just keeps it like YouTube. So I send you a private link, and you guys go back and watch it, and then have it, because it is hard to remember if I teach you how to move, waypoints from Google Earth Pro onto your phone or whatever, so you can have them out there, or or your tablet if you bring a tablet out. Little things like that I use it when I'm not using a fish finder, which is pretty much always. But but anyway, so Andrew, we'll end on this question here. Andrew is saying, Drew, have you ever used the Deep Dive app? I've never used Deep Dive, but it's very similar. It does basically the exact same stuff the Omnia app does. So that's and Omnia is a partner of ours, and I've got a relationship with them, but I know Johnny at the Deep Dive app, and it's a great app. It looks really cool, but yeah, I mean, you really don't need both those apps because they do the same thing. You just need one or the other. I think they're pretty darn similar. And then also the Far Wide app has a little bit different functions than those. So that's why I use those two apps. Obviously Google Maps, I mean, critical, but that's goes without saying, I think. But for the lake anglers, you're using, and river anglers too, you're using your mapping on your units, you know what I mean, as well, and your navionics and all that. So I just don't need it as much for this shallow water, backwater stuff that I love to fish. But yeah, I mean, any other last minute things, comments, questions from anyone before we wrap this one up?
I do want to say, Jessica, I saw your comment there. No problem showing you the trailer. Everybody else get signed up, for this event. It's going to be fun. Just sign up for whatever ones you can sign up for. And his points are different. It's based on the inches you catch, not where you place.
Yeah. Oh, the points are definitely different. Like the AOI points. The AOI points are, it's not based on where you place at all. It's based on the inches you catch, which is true. It's a good, unique thing about the AOI format. I mean, you're going to get points based on how many inches you catch and what that percentage is compared to the winning angler, which winning angler, whether he's at 88 inches or 108 inches, that equals 100% for that tournament. He or she gets 100 points, but everyone else, whatever you catch, that's a percentage, divided 100 by that, your number or whatever, or maybe it's the other way around. So you get those points, guys. So you're going to get exactly what you deserve, what you caught, what you earned based on how close you got to that 100%. So
you say there's a chance.
There's a chance, man. There's a chance. I mean, a lot of people could tie and get tons of the same AOI points at a lot of these events because of that, which is fine. But they're never going to tie throughout the whole season. But at one event, it just makes sense. If you guys all had, 99, 3 people had 99. Well, 3 people get 99 AOI points if the winner had 100 inches. You see what I'm saying? The winner would get 100. So it is cool. It is cool to see how, because it's not placing 15th out of 250 is not the same as placing 15th out of 50. You know what I mean? So why would they get the same AOI points? It's not the same. It's much harder to get 15 out of 250. But in this format, that's what you're trying to say is your AOY points. You just literally get what you earn, what you should based on that. No matter how many people are in it, 50, 500, it still works. The math still works, and it's very equal, and it's pretty cool. So it's just one of the unique things we're trying to implement at the Kayak Adventure Series. So there we go. Rob Woods and Custom Sawmilling saying he'd be interested in some lessons for sure. So, I mean, between the ACA classes we have on Sundays, which I'll do some of those at some of the events as well, between the virtual lessons I'm doing on fish tips, the ones I'm doing there, the consultation 101, man, it's a no brainer. We're going to get people better. And I think right now in kayak fishing, we're not the Bassmaster Opens. We're not the Elite Series. We don't have a floor there's a lot of good anglers in those tournaments. That's like super elite, kayak fishing, when you even to the Bassmaster and that, you've got a lot of good anglers. They're all there for a reason, but it's not as deep with the talent yet as I think the bass boat world is, you know what I mean? And we'll get there the more we continue to teach and educate and help people learn. And it's going to get tougher and tougher. That's kind of the evolution of all sports. Golf is more stacked than it's ever been because it's hard to be a Tiger Woods when Tiger Woods influenced all the ones now who come up, and now they've all been influenced and inspired and use his work ethic. So they're all like pretty darn close to get. It's hard to have another Tiger Woods. The older and older a sport gets, so we're going to keep getting there, and hopefully we can help.
Well, and I don't think it has to be on the same level per se.
Right.
I think that's one of the reasons why I love kayak fishing is it's a more personal style of fishing. So that's what I love about this Kayak Adventure Series. That's why I'm excited to be to have Yak Gadget associated with it, because to me, the open style format, all of the original rules that pertain to kayak fishing, it's really styled for true pure kayak fishing. That's one of the reasons why, Drew, you and I talked in Indianapolis a lot about it.
Yeah.
It's one of the things about it that I absolutely love and just was super excited to be a part of, because I believe that's the way that this series is being set up is the exact same, all the same principles that got me into this sport that has kept me into this sport. And I think personally, like you said, you're going to have, all ships rise with the tide, right? Yeah. Like you're going to have people get better and you're going to have a better style of fishing. But I think the coolest thing about this is people are going to get to fish the exact way they want to fish. They're not going to have to change their style. If you want to put in and walk through some woods to get to a certain spot, right? Yeah. You're going to be able to do that. If you want to put in at a boat ramp, you're going to be able to do that too.
Yeah, so use a motor, electronics, all that. Yeah,
or strip it down, and go out on an inflatable or anything like that. So that's what I love about this is it more open style. You can totally tailor it to your style of fishing, and that's one of the reasons why. And that's the way Yak Gadget is. You can tailor your game however you want to tailor your game with our products, and you can do it really quick. So I feel like the mindsets of Yak Gadget and the mindsets of Kayak Adventure Series are very much in line, which is why I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, and we're going to give away some Yak Gadget stuff. The first 100 anglers that register in that $100 gift bag, you're going to get a really cool Yak Gadget product. So definitely want to be in that first 100. We'll see you guys at those events. I look forward to it. And I'll close with a shout out to Turtlebox, who just sent us some, I guess I could unwrap it here. Some turtle boxes to use. If you've never seen these, they're a sponsor. We never really highlighted it because they just got it. Basically, these are waterproof little speakers. And I think they have a new small version that's coming out that actually you can plug up a sound system to it, like a microphone. So we can use this so like Ryan over there in Towanda, Pennsylvania for that event. There's no power or electricity over at the pavilion at Riverfront Park. So Eastside Riverfront Park. So I'll plug this up. We'll play some music on it. And then when I need to do my announcements, I'll plug up my microphone to it, and we'll talk through the announcements and question and answer session, whatever we got to do there at the opening ceremony. So it's pretty cool. So thanks to Turtlebox for being a great sponsor. Yeah, they're sweet guys. Well, somebody's going to win some too. So
can you link those up to have multiple ones? So if you need to have a little bit louder at that park over there,
I think you can.
Yeah.
And they go check them out, turtlebox.com or turtleboxaudio, I believe.com. But all right, guys, we will catch you guys later. And yes, Dustin Hoy, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to it, man. All right, guys, get signed up. See ya.
See you later.